G'day everyone, I just wanted to do a video covering part of the process that I use to create these fellas. These are pens that I have made out of plastic. So it's just a few examples of some of the pens that I have created. So I say this video is going to cover part of the process. When it comes to making a pen, there's two, trying to check the light on that, there's two parts to the process. There's one where the second part, which is turning the pen plastic in a lathe. I'm not going to be covering that. The main reason basically is that there are already a bucket load of videos on YouTube covering that process, and I don't see any point adding to it. If you want to see how to do that part of the process, just Google making pens on a lathe, or turning pens, or turning pen blanks into pens, and there's heaps of videos out there. Most of them focus on wood. There are some on plastic, some on acrylic. The process is the same. It doesn't matter what the material is, the process is the same. So I'm not going to be covering that. What I'm going to be covering is the process that I go through to create these. These are called, these are called pen blanks. Now a pen blank is what you need to put into the lathe to make your pens. And so I want to take you through the process that I use to make these pen blanks. Quick caveat, I am not saying this is the best process. You might watch this video and think, gee, that's not a very efficient way of working, or I could do it a different way and do it better. Great, by all means go for it. I'm very much learning as I go, as most people who are starting to work with plastic in their garage are, and this is how I've come up with the process. If you can think of better ways to do it, great, add a comment, chuck a comment down below, because you know I can learn from you just as much as you might be able to learn from me. So any comments that might be able to help my processes as well are certainly appreciated. So before I get into the actual making of the plastic or the blank, I just want to take you through some of the tools that you need. Let me just find somewhere to put my pens down. First of all, the plastic that I use. Okay, so at the moment I am using HDPE. That's a red HDPE. That's ground up to the holes on my shredder are 15 mil. So in general the pieces are below 15 mil. HDPE works, LDPE works well. I have no preference between the two. It's just at the moment all of my LDPE is being used on another project, so I'm using HDPE. I don't know about any other plastics, I don't have any, so all I can comment is on the plastic that I've used. To melt the plastic, get back into focus. I don't know if the camera can pick it up. Yeah, I think it can just down the back. I just use a toaster oven. It is a El Cheapo second-hand toaster oven that I picked up from a local second-hand wholesale electronics store for 2 parts of bugger all. It does the job. It's not pretty. It's a toaster oven. Not much I can say about it really. I use a bottle jack press that I've made to compress the plastic once it's ready to be made into the mould. I also use these. These are silicon moulds for melting the plastic in, and I'll go through the melting process in a little while, but I use these. I got these on Amazon. I'll provide a link in the comments of the ones that I use. There are moulds that you can get online specific for making pen blanks. These ones are not the right size. They're too wide, too short. These particular silicon moulds, they're designed for making muesli bars, or you know, health food bars or brownies or whatever. So they are the wrong size, the wrong shape. So why do I use them? Good question. if you buy the mould that melts to the right size, what you'll end up with is a very uniform mottled look. To show what I mean, this is some LDPE that I've melted. Now this is not pressed, I've just melted it and allowed it to melt flat, and so you end up with this mottled look. Now I have made jewellery. I'm not wearing my ring right now, but I've made rings without compressing the plastic, and it works well, but you end up with this mottled look. The look that I really like with these pens is, you can see it's a bit hard. Hang on, let me just tilt that up so I can see the screen properly. You can see how the plastic, the colours are stretched and elongated and blended nicely together. This is my favourite one. I'm really loving that pen. But you can see how they're like that. If you haven't, by using the process I use, I get this look. If I just melted the plastic into a mould that was the right size and then turned it, I wouldn't have that. I'd have more of a mottled look, which I don't really want for my pens. So that's why I'm not using the proper pen mould. So what I do is I melt them in here, and then, just adjust my camera a little bit, I use this. This is a very simple, extremely basic but effective mould that I press the plastic into. It's made up of that 16mm ply, 2 sheets of that, so one this side, one this side, and that's just pine in the middle. I've varnished it. It's 45mm across, length not really important. I think from memory it's about 200. You just need to make sure that it's longer than the pen that you need for the pens. And then I have another piece that presses down into it, and you can see if I sit that there, that when the top piece, when this piece is pressed down firmly, I end up with a pocket. Now that pocket is 45mm high, so I end up with something that's 45mm deep, 45mm high, which is the right size. You'll also notice here where my fingers are, there's gap. That's deliberate. Okay, the reason why I have that is when I'm pressing the plastic, I weigh the plastic out, so it's 45 grams that I use for that. And when I press it, there's a little bit too much, and so it goes up the sides. That's deliberate. I want to make sure that when it's pressing, that it's filling the whole space properly. One of the biggest challenges that I find so far when it comes to turning these pens out of the plastic, is air bubbles. Okay, so there's nothing worse. You're getting down to where you want the pen to be, or the outer thing to be, and you hit an air bubble. Can sometimes cause the whole plastic to crack, or you just have to keep going until you get rid of that air bubble and you end up with a pen that's too thin to grip. So I find by really compressing it, using the bottle jack press and letting the excess plastic squirt up the side, I get less air bubbles. I still get some, but I get less. So I'm going to take you through the process. I'll film it as I go, and provide an audio, and hopefully at the end you'll see a pen. We'll have a pen as an end result. So let's see how we go. Okay, so very quickly, 45 grams. I'm going to do this one. It's just going to be red, white and blue. Give it a good shake. I don't know if you can see that there. And that's it. I'm going to fill out the rest of the tray, and then I'll just take us to the oven. went well. So we're just coming up to melting temperature now, and I will get it out and I will show you and talk to you about putting the plastic together for the second melt. Now, before I do, one thing I just want to quickly mention: you're going to need gloves because I'm handling the plastic. It gets hot. You buy these on Amazon. I'll also provide a link to these. I haven't got nothing to do with the company or anything like that, but these are, I've found these to be the most successful or most effective gloves so far. There's silicone on the outside, padded on the inside. They seem to work really, really well. They're not the most durable. I just noticed a hole then. I don't know if you can see, there's a hole formed, but you know. Okay, so the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to take the side ones, because we know that that one and that one is 45 grams and that, and I'm going to put them smooth side together and put them back in. Now what I've also done here, you can see I've got a black and a red. I'm just waiting for it to cool down a fraction. One of the things that I've noticed, black is very good at overpowering everything else. So when you mix black in with other colours, it can be a real problem. One way I overcome it is this approach. So what I do, I get the black and the red, and I haven't got an example to show you. Well, you'll be able to see in a second. I'm just waiting for it to cool down enough for me to take it out. Actually, if I take it off that bit of wood, that'll help, because then it's the aluminium will help cool it down a bit. But what I'm going to do together is I'm going to twist it so that it's going to be separate, black and red. It comes out with a really nice appearance in the end. So there we go, the black's coming out. No, not quite, close but not quite. So I'll give it another 30 seconds. There's a fine line between letting it melt enough and letting it melt too much. See what the red wants to do. Come on. Okay, so that's the red out. I'll get this black out now. Put them together. And all I'm going to do is twist them. This is where those gloves really come in handy, because this plastic is really bloody sticky when it's melted. So give that a really good twist. Now you can see with this one, it's supposed to be just black and red. A little bit of blue got in there. I'm not worried about that sort of stuff. That's part of the organic nature of the plastic. I kind of like that. So that's twisted. I'll do the same with this one. This one should be ready to go because it's more time to cool. Black, red. Smooth side to smooth side. The smooth side being the side that was up against the silicon. And then I just twist it. Now what's going to happen, so they'll go back in and it's going to melt again. No urgency with these fellas. With my mould, the mould that I use, you can see, if I take, oh, I've screwed it together, so you can see the mould's considerably wider than the cavity. So when I've merged these together and melted it again, it's going to be thin but only fill up part of the mould. It's when I press this top section down, that's what stretches it out, and that's what creates that organic look that I like with the pens. So that's another reason why I'm using this mould. It's too small to go, why I'm using this silicon tray is it's too small to go into the mould, so it forces the plastic to be stretched and elongated and gives it that look that I like. So we'll get these together. So you can see it's melted. It's a little bit flexible, but it doesn't matter. One side's smooth, one side's rough. I put the smooth sides together. Now the reason why I'm doing that is I've just found that this helps to reduce the chance of air bubbles in the middle. Doesn't eliminate them, but it does seem to help reduce them. Normally what I do is a full tray at a time, but for the purpose of this video I'm just going to, what I mean by a full tray of doubles as well, but I'm just going to go with 4 in this case, in this instance. And that goes back into the oven to be brought up to temperature again. Okay, we're up to speed. I've changed the camera so that we're pointing down, so you'll just have to get by. Oh, there's my pretty face there, just so you can see it's still me. Now we've got to wait for it to melt down enough that I can get it out of the mould. A bit of a juggling act between enough and too much. I've said that before. Now the good thing about it is, as I'm taking it out here, if I stretch it, it doesn't really matter. So you can see when I put it in there, it's the wrong size. That's what I want. Get that in there. I'll very quickly crank it up so you can see. That'll be close enough. Sorry about the camera work. So that just goes in down. That's a tight fit. And this goes back in the oven to get the temperature up again. So that'll sit in there for just a couple of minutes. It doesn't take long. I'll take it out and I'll show you the end product. So it's only a couple of minutes later. I just need to take it out of the mould. And there you have it. Now it's still hot, very hot. It's still soft, but it's firmed up enough that I can take it out. I'll then sit it somewhere to cool. That's how I make the makes. Thanks for watching.